sometimes a large step to listen to yourself, and what yourself is telling you to do can sometimes be a really scary thing to do. What's your advice for getting over that fear and plunging into that big step?
Oh yeah, Alana, it's definitely scary. Okay, yes, you're 100% right about that. However, on the other side of scary is amazing. Okay, so there are three zones that they talk about in Global Citizen Year, which is an amazing gap year company that I used to be on the board of. They talk about the comfort zone, the panic zone, and in the middle, the growth zone. Okay, so the comfort zone is how you feel when you're on your parents' couch watching a wonderful television show. Okay. You're comfortable, you're safe, you might even have some snacks nearby, but you're not really learning and growing unless it's a very engrossing documentary. Okay. Your panic zone is like, oh my gosh, I might actually die. This is not just emotionally terrifying, but maybe there's a cliff here that I might fall off. Like, I'm terrified. We're not aiming for that. We're aiming for the growth zone. Okay. You got to get out of your comfort zone into the growth zone of like, well, I want to try this. I'm going to see what happens. And it's not going to kill me, but it's a stretch for me because it's not comfortable. We only grow in our comfort zone. You don't grow sitting on the couch usually. Okay. So we have to be willing to kind of, all right, let me just get out there a little bit and try this. And if we can take a beginner's mentality instead of a perfectionist mentality, that is a great coping mechanism. If you leave your comfort zone and you get into this growth zone and you feel like you have to be perfect, like I'm going to do this and I have to be amazing at it, that's going to be scary and stressful. But if you're like, you know what? I'm going to give this a try for 18 months. I'm going to give this a try for 2 years. I'm going to give this a try this summer, whatever the time frame is. I'm going to give it a try. I have never done this before. I am going to do my best to learn what I can. I'm going to talk to people who know about this, and I'm just going to try to learn and grow. It's putting on that growth mindset hat that I, with my effort, am capable of learning more and getting better at things instead of I have to be perfect. And so taking a little bit of those risks and putting that growth mindset hat on, I think that's the way. And knowing, if you will believe me, you have to sort of take my word for it. But on the other side of scary is exhilarating. And that, frankly, that's where I like to lead my life. I like to be slightly terrified and slightly exhilarated. I like to ride that edge because I don't want to be bored. I don't want to be complacent. I don't want to be like, yep. Oh yeah, my life, it's good. I mean, it is a privilege to have choices. It is a privilege to be entertaining this. Like, what should I do with my life? I acknowledge that. There are plenty of people who are like, I just need to get the bills paid and whatever job I can get to take care of business I'm going to get. Once we're middle class, we tend to have a set of options, maybe more options than we realize. And even if we're in a lower socioeconomic bracket, I'm not saying you don't have options. I'm just acknowledging it might be a lot more difficult to just sort of branch out in something that feels a little risky because you're living a little bit closer to the edge to start with.
Nice. We've talked about some different themes here: having a growth mindset, self-love, self-direction, not listening to those outside voices, taking risks, getting out of our comfort zone. You interviewed a ton of people for your turn, and from very diverse backgrounds. What were the themes that emerged from what helped propel people forward?
Thank you for mentioning that. It's one of the aspects of the book that I think some readers will overlook, but some are very hungry for. This is a book that says, if we're going to talk about a stage of life all humans go through, we got to put examples of all different kinds of humans in these pages. My sincerest hope is that every reader has cause to say at some point, she had me in mind when she wrote this paragraph, this page, this chapter, whatever it might be, this sentence. I'm hoping for that because as a Black and biracial person, I know what it's like to not be seen on the page, to be reading something that purports to be for everybody, but it's clear the author is focused on, say, white folks. So what did I learn? Well, I learned, or I had reinforced, how gorgeous it is when people will open up and be vulnerable and share their tale. because it makes the listener feel less alone. We all feel more connected to one another when we can dare to say, you know what, I went through this. Another thing I learned, a lot of people get a lot of clarity around about age 14. I did not expect this, but I've interviewed 31 people who exist in the end of each chapter called Don't Just Take It From Me, meet this person, that person. A good number of them had some kind of important epiphany that happened to them at age 14. And I don't know why that is, but I imagine there's just enough self-awareness coming at age 14 and a tremendous idealism about how the world should work. Not yet jaded, but pretty, starting to be self-aware. And that's probably, a really wonderful opportunity for combustion of ideas and a sense of this is what matters and this is what I should be doing.